Hi there. So welcome to I think this is video number 5 for my spring Easter kind of journal made from envelopes. And today I'm going to be decorating the cover. So I've found this piece of card lying next to my desk. So I'm going to use this, I think, as the basis of my cover decoration. So I'm putting some gesso on here, and then I'm going to put some acrylic paints in a few different colours that I think go with the general theme of the journal. And yeah, I'm going to basically let you watch this. I've speeded it up slightly. I'm using very gentle brush strokes with the paintbrush, and I'm putting very little paint on the brush, and just kind of really lightly brushing it so that I don't get like loads of paint on. I'm just building the colour up kind of bit by bit in layers so I don't end up with too much. But yeah, I'm just going to let you watch this bit, and then I'll speak to you again for the next part. Okay, so now my paint is on and dry. It doesn't take long to dry because it wasn't particularly thick layers of paint. So I've got a couple of the pages from the Artie Mays kit, the spring watercolor kit, that I've been using, mostly the kind of spotty background pages. But I've used a few of the other pages, and these are two of the main pages that I've printed two onto one A4 just to shrink them down a bit. And then I'm going to use some bits from these pages and just use some of the elements on my piece of card to make the cover decoration. So I'm just ripping off the white parts so I can see better what I've got, and then I'm going to choose which bits I want to go onto my cover piece. So I'm just thinking, because the colours go really well, because the colours all match with the papers that I've been using in the journal anyway, and the spotty papers that I've got on my journal cover match exactly with the colours of the rest of the kit. So everything's going to look pretty well matched together. So I'm just choosing this little flower and bird, which I think I want to use. I'm just tearing roughly around them, and before I stick them down, I will ink around the white edges. But I'm just tearing it down and just positioning it on. See what I want, and then from this other piece, I think I'll probably use. There's a bit that says spring here, so I think I'm probably going to use this and a little butterfly. So again, just roughly tearing round. Okay, and then just again, this will be inked around. I'll ink around everything before I stick it on. Okay, so that's two kind of main pieces there. Great, and then I'm just seeing if there's any other pieces that I want to use, and I think I'm going to go for this butterfly. And this one I'm actually going to cut out with my little scissors. Just going to cut around him rather than tearing, because it's a bit more of a precise shape. So just not being too careful, but I am cutting around the outline, just leaving a little gap around the edge. Okay, so just gonna trim off a few extra bits and then position him on. Yeah, so I think that balances out quite nicely with the colours there. So there we go. And I've got these two pieces, which were pieces I had at the very beginning that I used to test the sewing machine when I was doing the actual cover. And I just folded roughly the pieces, just create little ruffles, and I've zigzag stitched through them. So I had those laying on my table, so I think I'm just going to add those on, seeing as the colours all match perfectly. So just positioning everything where I want it to be. Then what I'm going to do, again, I'm going to speed up a bit more and just go ahead and stick everything down and ink around everything. So yeah, I'll come back for the next bit. Okay, so everything is stuck down. I'm just going to have a quick look at it on the actual cover, and I'm pretty pleased with that. I've got a couple of other little bits that I'm going to stick onto the actual cover. I've got a little bee and a little hare that are just offcuts from bits of kits. So just going to ink around those, and they're going to actually just sit on the cover, kind of where I've placed them there. So yeah, just inking around that, and then I'm going to stick them on. So now they're stuck down, I'm just having another look at the main cover piece and just thinking whether there's something else that could be added here. And I'm thinking I've got some kind of gauzy fabric, as you can see, and I think I might just kind of stick some roughly cut kind of little bits of this just around the edges, just to add a little bit of extra texture around the edges. So I'm just kind of pulling it apart a bit, stretching it. This has kind of been tea dyed a little bit. It's not too much because the original gauze was kind of a white, so it's slightly coloured now. Just adding a little bit of glue just to keep it in place while I glue the rest of it down, just so I can arrange it where I want it. So I'm putting a bit on one side, and then I'm going to put the other bit on the opposite side on the corner. So again, just a little bit of glue just to keep it in position, and it's thin enough that you can actually just glue through when you actually attach it on. So I'm just kind of pulling it around and getting it how I want it. First, this glue dries quite quickly, so it holds it in place quite nicely. So there we go. So all I have to do now is attach that to the front of my journal. Yeah, I'm liking what I've got there. So I'm just going to put more glue over the whole piece now. Just enough glue to hold the whole thing on. Okay, just gonna press it down and hold it in place just for a few seconds, just so that the glue has time to adhere to the paper underneath. But as I say, it's quite fast drying. So there we have it, all stuck down. So brilliant. I am going to go away now and I'm going to finish decorating all of the inside, and then I will come back in a separate video with a flip through.